Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. Glad to have you with us from all of Beit Tikva. We're going to celebrate this beautiful Sabbath, the Sabbath before Rosh Hashanah, the seventh Sabbath as we come to the new year 5781. We're going to start off this evening service with a nigun led by Wendy on the clarinet. And please join us, sing together. The words are la 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 la.
A wordless prayer.
A wordless prayer. Second tune for the Shabbat evening is Evenu Shalom Aleichem, a wonderful traditional melody. And if you're looking in your Siddur, on the very top of page 644 are the words Evenu Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Evenu Shalom. Let us bring peace unto us, upon us may there be peace on the Sabbath day. Evenu Shalom Aleichem, Evenu Shalom Aleichem, Evenu Shalom Aleichem, Evenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Evenu So please come back to the beginning of the prayer book, to page 121. We'll read this meditation together before we say the blessing over the Shabbat candles. Middle of page 121. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Let's sing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. We'll continue with a reading. We're on page 127. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we care nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Let's turn to the Psalms, as we always begin the Sabbath evening prayers with Psalm 95, where we are on page 130, top of page 130. Let's read together towards the bottom of the page. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. In God's hands are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are God's. God's is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel. Bend the knee before Adonai, our Maker. For Adonai is our God, and we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. Let's turn over a page to 133. We're reading from Psalm 97 on the top of 133. Adonai is sovereign, let the earth exult, the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds are around God. Righteousness and justice are the base of God's throne. O you who love Adonai, hate evil. God guards the lives of God's loyal ones, saving them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in Adonai, and acclaim God's holy name. Let's turn to one of our favorite blessings and prayers, the song Lecha Dodi. Beloved, oh come meet the bride, beloved come to greet Shabbat. This is the mystical, these are words actually, most of the words come from the various prophets, but the composition comes from the Kabbalists who lived in Safed in the late 1500s. Page 138. close to the Hatzi Kaddish, which is the beginning of the blessings as we come to the Shema and the Tefillah. So we're on page 144, top of 144. We'll all sing together the Reader's Kaddish. Yitgada v'yitgada Shemei Rabbah Yamad Yivrach v'yoteh v'yamlik malchuteh Echa Yekon U'Yom Echon U'Chayed B'Chol Beit Yisrael Hagala Hagala U'Bizman Kari Imru Amen Eshmei Rabbah Mevorah Ya'olam Me'al Maya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach Yitbar V'draman Yitnaseh V'yitalach V'yitalech V'yitalach Shemei Kedusha V'yichu Lela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Shushtrichata V'nechemata Rami Yama Imru Amen. Please turn the page and we'll sing together the Baruch, the call to worship, on 146. Baruch et Adonai Havorach, Baruch Adonai Havorach, Le'olam Va'ed. And we turn to 148. We're reading together the first blessing in English. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Sabaoth is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. The second blessing, known as Ahavat Olam, everlasting love. Together in English on 150. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Together we sing Shema Yisrael. The words are on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod, Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. So please be seated if you're not already seated and comfortable. We continue, as we do for every service, with the words from Deuteronomy chapter 6, the continuation of that paragraph from Shema Yisrael. We're on 154 in the Siddur, and we begin with V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לתותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Together you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. So we turn to the words of Mi Chamocha, this beautiful passage from Exodus chapter 15, as Miriam and Moses and Aaron are chasing through the waters of the Red Sea, escaping from the Egyptian charioteers. Beautiful blessing, the Hashkivenu, the special text that we recite on Friday evening to ask God for protection and deliverance, to shield us from illness, famine, sorrow, all the ills of the world that we're experiencing these days. Wendy and Alma will create this music in the flute. So we turn the page, we're on 162 now, and with the help of Jolene and Wendy and Alma, we're going to sing Yismechu. Yismechu, the words contain 24 Hebrew words corresponding to the 24 hours of the Sabbath. It's in the middle, the words are in the middle of page 162. So we begin now with 7 blessings for the Sabbath service. On page 164, the prelude is our words from Psalm 51. And if you're able, please stand. If not, relax in your living rooms and enjoy the blessings. There are 7 blessings for this Sabbath day to correspond to the 7 days of the week. And we'll begin singing on page 164. Adonai sefatatita ufiagit gilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol read together. We're on page 171, top of 171. The days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Let's read together. We're on 173, top of the page. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We continue with the English of the prayer of the Ritzeh, in the middle of 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we will look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. Let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, Sholcha levadecha, v'yera na'avod. Let's read together words for the blessing of Thanksgiving, the Modim. We're on 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, atah shimcha, u'lecha na'eh lehodot. So we come to our seventh blessing, Shalom Rav, with this beautiful music. Let's all sing together. The words are on page 178 in the Siddur.
Shalom,
meditations and prayers.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you. Be acceptable to you. Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Lord, my rock and redeemer.
So this Sabbath, the Sabbath preceding Rosh Hashanah, is called Nitzavim. Nitzavim means to stand up, literally. For those who are standing this day, all the Israelites on the eastern side of the Jordan, as the people are waiting in the future months and years to enter into the Promised Land. Text begins, you are standing this day before the Lord your God, all of your heads, your tribes, your elders, your officers, even the men and women of Israel, and then goes on to talk about all of the big shots and the little shots in the community who are standing. Literally, they're standing before Moses, who's giving one of his very final sermons to the people. What does it mean here that you're standing before God? It means that each one of us is given the great gift of free will. And it depends on how we deal with our free will, which determines the course of our lives. We are not born into a fatalistic, predetermined universe. Every person is given the gift of ratzon, of the will to live, the will to decide, the will to choose. And this whole Torah portion is about choosing. It's about turning our lives around, making things better. Sometimes it's known as the Parshat Teshuvah, the portion about Teshuvah, about repentance. Because the word Teshuvah occurs many, many times in chapter 29 and 30 of Deuteronomy. So I want to kind of springboard off of that idea of Teshuvah, of turning ourselves around, and share with you a little story that's apropos of this of the season. Rabbi Shneur Zalman, who is one of the great masters of the Hasidic world in the early 1800s, Shneur Zalman became the founder of Lubavitch Hasidim. And in his day, he was often harassed and tortured literally by the police because the other segments of Jewish society at that time in Russia were not too happy with the Hasidic masters, and so they would come up with all kinds of spurious charges against them in order that the authorities would throw their great rabbis into prison. So Rabbi Shneur Zalman was in prison. The warden of the prison, knowing that he had a very distinguished guest in his jail cell, decided he should visit the great rabbi. He introduced himself and said, "I have been studying your Bible, and I find there a number of inconsistencies. For example, in the book of Genesis, it says that when Adam sinned, he hid himself from God. When God called to him, and God said to him, 'Where are you?' Well, isn't that a meaningless question? Because if God is really all-knowing and all omniscient, wouldn't God already know where this man was? In other words, wouldn't God know exactly where Shneur Zalman exactly resided?" So the great rabbi looked at the warden in a slightly bemused fashion, and he said, "I will answer your question if you will first answer a question of mine. So do you believe that the Bible speaks to every single person in every generation, and not just to Adam and Eve?" And the warden of the prison said, "Yes, of course." Then responded Reb Shneur Zalman, "Understand God's question to Adam as if God were speaking to you and I. As if God were saying to you, 'You are 44 years old. What are you doing with your life? Where are you now?'" Well, when the warden heard this rhetorical question from the great rabbi, referring to him, and it turns out exactly referring to his precise age, he shuddered. How did this rabbi know how old he was? And every so often, he would then wake up in the weeks following, he would wake up in the middle of the night and hear the same question from Shneur Zalman. "Where are you? What are you doing?" That's what I think we're all in the midst of doing these past few months, in the midst of all the tourists that we're living with. We begin to prepare for the high holiday season, and the central question that we have to ask ourselves right now is, where are we? Where are we, and where are we going? It's not just the question that God asked Adam and Eve. It's actually the real question that Rabbi Shneur Zalman asked the warden. What are you doing with your life? Do you really think you're doing the best you can possibly do? And can you turn your life around and make it even better? Can you do more mitzvot? Can we do more good deeds for other human beings? Those are all part of the questions of this season. Our response to these questions begins, of course, with introspection. That's why we have taken this month of Teshuvah, of self-examination, to look at ourselves, to right ourselves with God, to try and establish a better direction with ourselves in relationship to all those we know and love. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. For thousands of years, Jews have been asking the same question: where are we? What are we going to do in the year ahead? And will we be here in the year ahead? In order to be here in the year ahead and do good things, we have to make amends and promise to do even better in the coming season. Let me leave you with these words from one of the great mystical teachers of the 20th century, a man named Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, a guiding light for so many people in the latter part of the 20th century. This is what he wrote in one of his books about this month before we come to Rosh Hashanah. This is the fundamental choice offered to everyone: to awaken and uplift yourself, draw yourself closer to holiness. And at the moment of your ascent, look down from the perspective of your pure, elevated soul on the smallness that you and I usually keep and hold on to. Look at the lowly state of consciousness you and I normally exist in, with our petty thoughts and our petty desires. Address yourself and say, why do I sit all day in a muddy pit of virtual outhouse of childishness and foolishness? From now on, I take it upon myself to become a Jew who shall serve the Lord God. Master of the universe, I want to be a good Jew. I I accept upon myself to become your servant and your co-worker. May it be that way for all of us this season. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
So let's think about our dear friends and loved ones who need strengthening and healing on this Sabbath. There are many in our families and our congregation who need a Misha Berach for this week and for this Shabbat. We remember Eliodoro Herrera, the father of Cantor Ephraim, for goodness and blessing and strength. And also Carmen Orland, dear friend of Cantor Ephraim. And we remember also Flo Vinnick, Lynn Kelly, Melanie Hornstein, all of our dear congregants, Doreen Hertig, Helen Fine, Toby Karps, and Casey Cantor. So if you'll turn please in your prayer books, we're going to sing together, and the words are on page 371. 371. Coming Monday evening, we will have a board meeting here in the sanctuary to remind everyone. If you are planning to attend High Holy Day services in the sanctuary in person, we have room for you, but it's imperative that you call the office and make a reservation. We're not able to have people just walk into the temple on Rosh Hashanah for services. You have to have a reservation. Everyone will be wearing a mask. The cantoral soloists will be singing for us, but they will be behind a plexiglass divider to protect them from us and all of us from them. So we are scouring the building, we're washing down everything and making sure everything is as clean as possible. But we need your reservation if you would like to join us for Erev Rosh Hashanah or the morning of Rosh Hashanah. And remember also to support Beit Tikva. Remember this is an important time for us, and we need your financial, your material support. It's very important for us going into 5781 that we are strong and healthy and have the sustenance to continue all the good things we're doing here at Beit Tikva. Thank you to Lela for recording our services, as she always does every week. And thank you to Jolene, who is our pianist, Wendy and Alma, our experts and flautists and clarinetists. Without you, the service wouldn't be much fun. So let's go to the concluding prayers. We're going to sing together the Aleinu, page 586. Page 586. The words that we sing are on the bottom, towards the lower portion of the page on 586.
Aleinu lezabeach lagon hakol, latei tefillah letzereshit, shelo zamanu yeratzon, v'lo zamanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo zamanu k'lehem, v'gor aleinu k'kol amonam, v'anachnu Umishpachim umodim, Yidimelech Molchei Halachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Our thoughts turn at this hour to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, and those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, and the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked. Those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we recall with love and devotion Geraldine Bernstein, aunt of Julie Horowitz-Kite, Muriel Lorraine Block, mother of Joan Bernick, Harold Kasner, father of Alma Dankoff, Susan Kasner Miller, sister of Alma. And we remember as well Debbie Weingarten, sister of Mark Sanders. Let's turn please to the words of the Kaddish prayer. In your prayer books, we're on 598. 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, chayei v'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala b'zman karib v'yimru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam le'omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shemei kudusha v'richu. Lela minkol birchata v'shirata. Josh v'chata v'nechem amata. Dam Iran
Rama v'yimiru amen.
Yehei
Shalom Rabba
Mishamaya. V'chaim aleinu
v'al kol Yisrael
Israel.
v'yimiru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimiru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimiru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, Yalkol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom,
Please turn in your Sidurim to the words of the Kiddush. We're on 123 in the prayer book, and if you have a cup of wine or apple juice, grape juice, whatever you like, we lift up the cup to celebrate the beauty of this Sabbath day. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei beri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'rata banu, v'shabbat kadsho v'ahava ratzon inkilanu, zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit, ki hu yom techilah l'mikrahei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ibanu v'chata v'yotanu hidashta mikol ha'amim k'shabbat kodshecha v'yahava u'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Have a beautiful Sabbath.